Once upon a time, in the kingdom of Longtrellis, there was a king who loved his queen deeply. Despite the king's longing for his queen's happiness, she couldn't experience the joy of being a mother. This saddened the queen, and the king, wanting to help, called in doctors from the kingdom. Sadly, none of them could understand or assist in the matter. In an attempt to lift the queen's spirits, the king decided to bring circus performers to the castle one day. However, things took an unexpected turn when one of the female performers revealed she was pregnant. This news upset the queen, leading her to destroy some property in frustration. The king, who was once deeply in love with the queen, had promised to do anything for her happiness. The next day, a tall and slim old man shows up at the castle, claiming he can help. The king, doubtful because others have made the same claim without success, questions him. The old man reassures them, saying he knows the limits to go to for them to have a child. When asked, they agree to go up to the last limit. The old man explains that to bring life, one must sacrifice another life to maintain balance in nature. With an agreement in place, the king is tasked with capturing a sea creature. The plan is to use its heart, cooked by a pure and single lady, to help the queen become pregnant. Eager for a child, the king sets out on a mission to hunt down the sea creature. In a river, the king finds a huge white monster. He bravely goes into the water and successfully eliminates the monster while it's asleep. However, the king gets injured in the process and tragically dies on the spot. But before his death, he manages to extract the monster's heart. The queen carefully covers the heart and returns to the castle. A single and pure maid is tasked with cooking the monster's heart for the queen. While cooking, the maid experiences strange feelings and, surprisingly, becomes pregnant. When the heart is ready, the queen eats it, and just as the old man predicted, she becomes pregnant. At the same time, the queen and the maid give birth to sons, Elias for the queen and Jonah for the maid. The story then fast-forwards 16 years to show the grown-up children. The queen was overjoyed with her son, as if she'd been given a new lease on life. Both Elias and Jonah, born on the same day, were unlike other children. Their white hair symbolized the sea monster, and they looked so alike that they could pass for twins. They shared a close friendship and enjoyed each other's company, despite the queen disapproving of their bond. She constantly reminded Elias that he was a prince and shouldn't be friends with the maid's son. Elias, however, paid no heed to his mother's warnings. He continued meeting Jonah, and the two had a unique ability to breathe underwater. To keep their meetings secret, they visited the same river where the monster had been killed. The queen warned the maid that if she didn't stop her son's friendship, she would be forced to leave the kingdom with her child. Despite the warning, they continued to meet. One day, things went too far. Jonah took off Elias's clothes and went to the queen, who couldn't recognize whether he was her son. Suspicious of the situation, she later discovered the truth and decided to exile Elias from the kingdom. Elias tries to stop Jonah, but Jonah ignores him. Using his knife, Jonah cuts down a tree, causing water to flow. Jonah explains to Elias that as long as the water stays pure, Elias should understand that he's alive. He also warns Elias that if he senses danger to his life, he will quickly move away. Months pass, and Elias regularly checks the water. One day, it turns red, signaling danger to Jonah's life. Elias, without informing his mother, leaves the kingdom to find Jonah. After much searching, Elias discovers Jonah's home, where Jonah has married a girl. Despite their similar faces, they recognize Elias as Jonah. Elias learns that Jonah went to the jungle 5 days ago and never returned. Elias sets out to find Jonah, causing worry for the queen. Despite searching the entire kingdom, Jonah remains elusive. The queen seeks help from the old man, who insists that to bring her son back, she must sacrifice her own life. Reluctantly, she agrees. In the jungle, Jonah is caught and severely injured. A flying monster attacks him, and in response to Jonah's cries, Elias arrives and slays the monster with his sword. Unaware to Elias, the flying monster was his own mother, and he unintentionally kills her. However, this sacrifice fulfills the agreed-upon bargain of life for life. Jonah is saved, and Elias becomes the new king of the kingdom. The story finished here. Moving on to story number 2, it involves a lecherous king always surrounded by girls, yet unable to find a queen he could wholeheartedly accept and marry. Nearby, 2 old women live reclusively, unmarried, but with sweet voices that defy their age. One morning, the king hears one of the old women singing, and he is captivated by her voice. Intrigued, he follows the sound, but the women return home, sparking the king's curiosity even more. In his imagination, he envisions one of them as a beautiful, shy girl. One is named Dora, cunning and greedy, while the other is Ima, straightforward. Dora, sensing an opportunity for a change in luck, invites the king to return after a week and promises to reveal a part of her body. The king, enchanted by the prospect of love, eagerly agrees. Dora's attempt with herbs fails, and she starts crying. On the contrary, Ima, who had been putting her finger in her mouth for many days, manages to make her finger look good, surpassing the agreed-upon week. When the king arrives, Dora deceives him by showing Ima's finger instead of her own. Overwhelmed with emotion, the king is oblivious to the deception. Both Dora and Ima know that if the king discovers their act, he would surely punish them severely. Dora makes a bet, proposing to visit the castle at midnight with all the lights off. The king agrees, and Ima uses glue to tighten her body, creating the appearance of a young girl. At midnight, a temple guard comes to pick her up in the dark palace. When he realizes in the morning that he spent the night with an old lady, he becomes furious and throws Dora out of the castle window. However, Dora survives in the jungle, and a magical event occurs. As the story unfolds, Dora transforms into a young lady with long hair. The next day, the king, while hunting in the jungle, falls in love with Dora at first sight. He brings her to his temple and decides to make her the queen. Dora is unaware of how she turned into a young girl, but she remembers her sister Ima. Dora invites Ima to her wedding, but Ima is oblivious to the fact that her sister has transformed and will soon become a queen. Dora sends a costly dress to Ima, who wears it and attends her sister's wedding. Dora shares everything with Ima, who wishes she could be young again like her sister. When Ima asks how Dora transformed, she jokingly replies that she dragged her old skin out. Ima, taking it seriously, visits an ironsmith and promises him a reward of a necklace and a costly dress if he removes her skin. Unfortunately, the ironsmith is even more foolish than Ima. He takes her to the jungle and removes all her skin, creating a disturbing scene. Unfortunately, she returns in the same situation, and it's evident that she won't survive. As expected, she dies. On the other hand, Ima's magic doesn't last long, and she begins to grow old. Realizing the transformation, she runs away and reverts to her real age, becoming an old lady. This sadly ends the story. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos.